This is Ellen Burke, and I'm going to be talking about reinventing project-based learning. This is a offering from Susie Boss and Jane Krause. I felt that this book was very interesting, especially to my content as a U.S. history teacher, because when I am starting a lesson, I always try to give the students a clear mental image as to what exactly they're going to be learning, what their roadmap is. I give them a plan as to how we're going to attack the unit and what skills we're going to learn as we go through the content. Hopefully that provides a clear mental picture and also gives students a destination and possibly some ownership of exactly what we're going to do if they have any input that would be beneficial to the lesson. Establishing project framework is an indication as to how important it is to get to the heart of the discipline, and asking myself the question as to what core concepts and processes do I want my students to have after studying with me. It made me think as to what I'm teaching them now and what I want them to learn at the end of the year, and hopefully I've outlined and given them a scaffolded education in combination to learning some interesting content in U.S. history. I definitely want them to have organization and study skills. We do this through project-based work where we analyze, evaluate, and collaborate on some historical content, either individually or as a group. But if we do it individually, each student takes part in reporting back and sharing with friends, and I think that that communication helps so that it encourages students to have positive social interactions with their peers in an academic setting. Also, improving writing skills becomes increasingly more important in 11th grade U.S. history, so it's very important for me that I set my standards high with my students from the beginning when it comes to writing, and they know that it's something we're going to practice as a discipline throughout the year. Chapter 4 gave some interesting insight about meaningful and motivated learning and what it means to continue to practice those skills that you need help with in order for you to gain some success. And with study skills, then the differing skills that I want my students to know, like how to annotate a document, how to pick out the main ideas in a primary source document, and what it means to analyze a speaker or a piece of literature that is considered historic really comes to mind because that is a byproduct of developing critical thinking skills. And whether we communicate verbally after we look at that primary source document, or if we write an essay, students have to analyze that data and they have to make some decisions as to who the author is, what the audience is, who the audience is that he's trying to convey a historical message to, and what the meaning is in that place and time. It's my perhaps my biggest hope that a student would be able to look at that primary source document and put themselves visually into that time period and hopefully analyze and examine what humans were doing in 1850 that we either are or not doing in 2017. In order to get to that place and to show value in that, students have to think critically. And hopefully by practicing that skill, it meets a rigorous academic expectation. Chapter 4 gave quite a few strategies for discovery and how important it is to raise questions about what they are studying and what's around them in the world, and ask questions and make observations. So I find it very meaningful and a motivating way to learn. And it is very important to show cause and effect and understand these relationships. And U.S. history is just kind of built for that. So we look for change over time, and we identify patterns and trends while we examine a human's perspective at that time and how it might be the same, how it might be different, and give alternative points of view. In chapter 5, the authors gave some information and some teaching and assessing and learning strategies that would be meaningful for the PBL teacher. And the PBL teacher is looking for two main purposes in their assessment. They're measuring student learning in a summative way and also evaluating the quality of the project. So if you look at it from a summative perspective where students are having to put all the intricate parts and pieces that you have taught them together and then evaluate that in a summative way, looking for a clear progression of student learning, not necessarily where it's 100% every time, but that there's movement happening, that students are moving more towards the middle or more towards mastery of a particular subject or a particular purpose that you have set out for the class. After that, you can actually evaluate the quality of the project, and that can be set up easily through rubrics and presenting a performance task to students, asking people for help, and giving enough of text and content to students that they have a lot of information to work on. For me, as a first-year teacher in my first class, I find that concluding here is really where it starts for me as far as understanding exactly what it's going to take for my students to have achieved a learning goal and what do students want to know and be able to do. And I have to continue to find that balance in my classroom. We're just getting ready to wrap up first semester in my classroom, and we're working on a unit on the Civil War, and I've been working really hard with them, and they have put out some excellent products. So I'm hoping that their final collaborative project that they have come up with is going to be their best effort and a good way to end our semester. Thank you.